Welcome back to the LEC. I'm joined by Finn after a commanding victory from Rogue over Excel. You got to bust out the Kled today. How did you feel about that game?
It was a good game, actually. It's not often I go after a game and I feel like I played well. I always feel there's like some mistakes I did, but today I think I played really well. Solidly, and it's just very nice to feel this way.
Now, after kind of, let's say some difficult performances last week, did it feel good to like redeem the Kled? You obviously like flawless KDA coming in looking clutch.
I mean, last week the Kled didn't work out as well as it should have. We made some issues, made some mistakes as a team, and it kind of fell very far behind. This week we played a lot more for it, snowballed really well, and it was just a clean game.
Now, at the start of the day, we heard the desk talk a lot about the top 4 teams. You know, obviously this 4-way tie happening. Now, Rogue was kind of caught just outside of that, but it does look like you guys are getting better. How do you feel about those top 4 teams? Do you feel like Rogue should be up there?
Absolutely. I think right now we have had a bit of shaky stage performances sometimes, but I think as soon as we can translate our screen performances to the stage, I think we'll easily reach the top 3, top 4, top 2, whatever. Like, I feel like it's for sure within our reach, and we'll just come there with time.
So one of the shaky performances, I'm sad to say, was against Origin. Obviously, you bust out the set on stage, and it was a little bit rough. Now, you get a chance at Redemption tomorrow, so I'm curious how you're feeling about that matchup.
I mean, last time they got the better of us for sure, especially Afari. I was not very experienced in the matchup, and I got really abused by him. This time, I think we'll come in more prepared, and we'll have a stronger performance overall.
Do we get to see more of the kind of aggressive Rogue that we saw today? Because I'll be honest, you being aggressive, that's something I'm used to, but everyone felt like they were jumping on the train. Larson busting out the Echo. Is this kind of what we can expect from Rogue moving forward?
This is how we play when we play at our best, and this is always what we strive for. So hopefully every game like this will be like this in the future.
I hope so for you too, because you're also Kia Player of the Game. Congratulations. I believe you are also leading in the leaderboard, so you might be at an undisputed #1, at least for the moment. How does it feel to be the Kia Player of the Game?
Kia Legend?
The Kia Legend. That's good. We need a name for it.
Feels amazing, man. I will steal some of Larson's MVPs again and keep him at the bottom.
There you go. Keep Larson down. That's the moral of the story. Back to you guys.
Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Finn. That was a great toss and actually a really good interview. I like hearing some of the confidence. If we can play the way we do in scrims, top 4, top 3, top 2, bold statements.
I like it a lot. Top 1 maybe even.
Top
G2.
1,
Yeah,
we'll see.
not?
I mean, we'll have to see how it works out. Let's turn our attention to the next matchup. It is Vitality versus the Mad Lions. And we're going to do all of the LEC teams a favor. I say we, Yamato will, by giving a crash course on how to beat the Mad Lions. Let's start by looking at the 2 teams. If Vitality want to beat Mad Lions, and I look at the strengths of Vitality, Cabochard is the first name that comes to mind. So how does Vitality and Cabo look at Mad, and what do you want to see them do?
I think the first thing that comes to mind, Cabo, great player, has a good champion pool. Orome as a player is always playing weak side. Either he's playing Ornn or he's playing Gangplank. He gets isolated and he tries to survive. If Cabochard can get a good matchup where he has the potential to snowball, Orome is not the type of player to get a lot of jungle attention. So maybe we see a Lucian today into the Gangplank. Isolated, get Cabochard ahead.
Okay, so matchup is going to help out. I think in terms of player versus player, I would still say Cabo is going to be stronger than what we've seen from Orome. What else do we want to see? I mean, when I think about Mad Lions, I think about the jungle impact. I think about Lee Sin and Shadow in particular. He was influential in their win. So how does Vitality shut him down?
So the key thing is, of course, the Lee Sin pick. He's gone under the radar, but I think Shadow and Lee Sin has been crazy good. He's been kicking in heads left and right. Skeanz likes the Lee Sin as well, and with that in mind, maybe we should try to explore what else can Shadow play. Maybe he has some things in his back pocket and he just goes to comfort, but let's experiment a bit with seeing Shadow on something else than his favorite Lee Sin.
I'm noticing a trend here as well. That's 2 pick-dependent options. Good matchup, get, Shadow off the Lee Sin. Earlier today, we played some D&D. I remember hearing a couple of lines from Medic, Dungeon Master saying, Humanoid dies, Humanoid dies, Humanoid dies. I do feel like that is an area of opportunity, so can they target Humanoid?
I think Humanoid is a very explosive player, but I think he finds himself in positions that are kind of awkward. He tends to die, sometimes maybe too much to ganks. He dies on the side lane as well. So I think just ban the LeBlanc. Last year, he was lucky to have the Akali. Looking at this replay, without the LeBlanc, no jump, I guess we just continue.
I think we're going to throw it up over here.
Let's throw it up over here. You see, Razog is passing a ward, and of course, any pro player is going to take a look at these arrows and say, okay, he can be in this space. Whereas my own jungler, he's on the top side. Humanoid is playing as if his jungler is right behind him. He's playing so far, and SEJUANI can just walk up, easily secure the kill. Even if Lee Sin is here, it wouldn't matter. And on top of that, Humanoid burns his flash, has no TP, and when AZIR has his flash, his ult is going to easily push him into a kill. And this is just already securing a 0-2 right there.
So solo laners is the target. Get Shadow off of something, get him off of Lee Sin. Get him onto something that's maybe a little bit more uncomfortable. For Mad Lions, I know we focused on their weaknesses. So, what should Vitality be scared of if they're coming into this matchup?
I think the key thing for Mad Lions is, of course, their bot lane. Because I think usually if they manage to get an advantage in bot lane, Kaiser starts to roam with Shadow into mid lane, and they put Humanoid in a position where he can play as aggressive as he likes to do. Because when he has that opportunity, he plays well. So you can also take that approach. Let go of the weaknesses, attack the strength right at the legs, cut their knees off.
I cannot wait to see what they're going to do. This was the YamatoCannon masterclass on how to beat Mad Lions. Summarize it for me in 3 quick bullet points.
Ban LeBlanc, pick away the Lee Sin, and try to attack the weakness with the strength.
There we go. One or the other. Let's see what Vitality do. And if they'll take Yamato's advice as we leave it to Medic and Ender for Vitality versus Mad Lions.
Ooh, thank you very much, Quickshot. Yes, Yamato's masterclass. I mean, he seems to have already taught Vitality how they need to beat Mad Lions.
I mean, they're on the stage. How can they watch that, though?
I mean, Duke could be like on his phone watching it at the same time. What are your thoughts? Like, if you were Vitality coming into this game, what would you be targeting? What would you be looking at?
Well, I don't think you're allowed to take a phone on stage. So the first thing is that's not going to be an option.
Former referee. I forgot.
Those are just the rules, Medic. No, I think Vitality sort of coming in here have to give a lot of respect over to the Mad Lions. Like, yes, it's a very rookie team, but at the same time, they just came off of a week where they knocked down G2. I think out of the jungle, Shadows looked phenomenal. So there's a lot of different pieces you need to consider in terms of like very solid stuff from this team. As he was mentioning, though, I think mid lane is a focal point that you can look to attack because Humanoid does play aggressive, and this has been a problem for him in the past, too.
Really
Not just this split, but last split, Worlds, too. Getting picked off has been an issue.
Sometimes it can work for him because he does lead our mid laners in terms of solo kills, but he also leads our mid laners in terms of solo deaths.
Yep.
So it's a coin flip. Every now and again, you can see Humanoid getting an incredible 1v1 play, and every now and again, you see him just inting a little bit. And obviously, shutting down Shadow is important as well for Vitality. But on the other side of the coin, if you're looking at this game from Mad Lions, do you expect this to just be a game where they should dominate, where they should destroy, or do you think this could be closer?
Look, if Mad Lions don't dominate this game, you have to start asking questions. Now, the question could be, Vitality just picked up a win. Are they better than we give them credit for? But it could also be, are Mad Lions the playoff team that we've sort of slotted them in to be right now? Of course, in the last game, Rogue picking up a win, Mad Lions are in that 6th spot, so a win to stay tied with them will put them in a very good position. I believe 2 wins over Excel in the standings. So for Mad Lions, a team with newfound playoffs aspirations, this is one you have to be able to clean up easy.
And a team with so many rookies as well, making playoffs in your first split when you've seen Duke move away to Vitality, of course, the former Splice head coach. Now you're being led by Mac, by Peter Dunn. To have a rookie squad go that far is, firstly, quintessentially European, but secondly, a great indictment on the infrastructure behind that Mad Lions team.
Especially because when you look at this team and the players that are really performing, I actually think a lot of the credit has to go to the rookies on this team, right? Like Kaiser, Carzzy in the bottom lane has been super solid. Shadow has continued to impress me week over week. So, of course, like behind the scenes, everything has to be going well because this team feels like it's really gelling at the moment and allowing these rookies to shine.
It really does. We're going to have a look at the standings specifically just to show what you were trying to discuss earlier. Of course, Fnatic, G2, Misfits, Origin yet to play today, all sitting at the top. But Rogue with that win of it, got that 2-win buffer over XL. If Mad Lions can win here as well, they tie up with Rogue. And you're getting to the point where you're looking at 2 wins ahead of 7th place, 3 wins ahead of 7th place. It becomes a lot harder to fall out of playoffs.
Yeah, and we start talking about the playoffs now that we are in the 2nd round robin. And the really important thing is you can't lose to teams underneath you in the standings because like Vitality in last place, everyone else is assuming that they're picking up that win. If you all of a sudden drop that, you need to compensate elsewhere and would sort of erase some of the miracles they've been able to pull off in past weeks. That big win against G2, obviously huge boost to this team's chances going forward in the rest of the season.
It really, really is. We're going to get on into picks and bans. And we'll see whether the priority on things like the Ornn ban remains. APHELIOS was banned out in Game 1. Syndra, the LeBlanc that we've talked about for Humanoid. Let's see if if Vitality decides to get rid of some of those. They are on the blue side, so they have a little bit more flexibility, but immediately the LeBlanc is removed.
Man, Humanoid wins the award for most first rotation LeBlanc plans targeted against. Like, he gets one of these, I swear, almost every other game.
Have you heard of a player called FLICKR?
Rings a bell.
Yeah,
yep.
he does tend to get LeBlanc banned against him quite often as well.
In recent memory and in the LEC, though.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, I'll give you the fake one, though. That's a good shout here. Now, of course, as you mentioned, the Ornn getting removed here from Cabochard's pool. Also can see that flexed round 2. Another one I'm looking at, particularly in the hands of Orome, now that Ornn has been removed, is that GANGPLANK. He has been a huge fan of that champion for the global power, the scaling, and the ability for the Mad Lions to play opposite him on the map. He's not the type of guy that gets a whole lot of pressure or attention up in that top lane, so we'll very often see him on those self-sufficient picks.
We'll see if the GANGPLANK is taken away. It would have to be Mad Lions banning it against themselves at this point, as the Syndra was removed by Vitality. And we have also seen, Ryze bans, Cassio bans against Saken in that mid lane. Cassio, one of his most played picks. Mad Lions taking their time and decide that Pantheon does not deserve to be played.
Interesting. So Saken has played that one time before. I've also been seeing increasingly more Pantheons in the top lane after Whippo pulled out in the jungle too. I've seen Selfmade in particular spamming that champion, so seems like the priority on that has risen quite a bit. And while APHELIOS was banned in the last game, our team still think he is really, really strong and going to lock that in first.
The thing about it is you've taken like 200 range off his ult.
300.
300 range, sorry.
That's a 50% more than you said.
300 is like 200. We'll
Okay.
just get that one out there. You've taken a bit of damage off his Q as well on the Equilibrium gun. Just makes it a little bit harder to get the auto attack resets off that. So it's a bit of damage reduction. It's not a huge amount. You still have a lot of utility in teamfights. You can still get that long range route.
That's also just one of the guns, Medic, too. He's got four more.
Got 4 more guns. You have to nerf them all. But MF will be the response. It's what we've seen, across the last few weeks. Misfortune, APHELIOS, and Senna were the biggest AD carriers, and there is Shadow's Lee Sin. Locked in straight away. It's his 6th game on that champ.
Yeah, he loves that one. Big time right there. Skeanz, too. Been a big fan of that, so I'm curious to see what he rocks into it. The Gragas could be something if he wants to go for an AP jungler to allow Saken to play a physical damage in the mid lane. Also has some nice interactions there on the body slam versus Lee Sin's Q. Instead, though, it will be another initiation jungler. So trying to start off fights from the jungle is Skeanz on this SEJUANI. And what you love to see next to SEJUANI, especially in the solo lanes, are melee champions to pair with it to stack the passive faster, help her out in both ganks to get those early fights, as well as later on in the team fights where she can stun just about anyone.
Both Aatrox and GANGPLANK still available for Cabochard if he wants to take them up towards the top lane, and there is one of the quintessential melees that we see in the bottom lane. APHELIOS, BRAUM work really well together, BRAUM SEJUANI work really well together, and so far Vitality are building up a pretty strong team composition. TARIC's going to get locked in here for Kaiser. Now, we did see him play the TARIC Kalista last week in that win versus G2, and TARIC just does a lot to protect his AD carry.
This draft has already taught us a lot about the Mad Lions. Because you're wondering, is Kalista TARIC, one of those locked-in duos that you will only see one when it's paired with the other? Mad Lions and Kaiser in particular seem to think that the TARIC is very, very powerful. And I like the TARIC here, assuming that they're able to, go for, you could either go one of two ways, right? You can go for a heavy dive comp next to Lee Sin if you want champions to dive on in there, and you're initiating it yourself. But you can also very easily go a kite back comp with this Misfortune. Just drop that R whenever SEJUANI enters into a fight. You already know there's not a whole lot of damage coming out of the jungle position, so it means that you're going to be able to get that ult off even with the delay, very likely.
I'm gonna say you've missed one possibility here, Ender. I've been playing a lot of solo queue, and I've been carried a lot of times by TARIC Master Yi Funnel.
No.
Now, it's definitely not gonna happen, but it is a possibility whenever you see a TARIC getting locked in. It's not going to happen this game because, of course, we already have the Lee Sin in the jungle for Mad Lions. Kiana and Lucian banned away by them. Diana?
Diana.
That's the one. It's Kiana,
How long have you been playing this game, man?
About 7 years now, actually.
Yeah,
very long.
Diana's been viable for 3 months, so there you go.
Alongside that, the Vladimir taken away here. It looks like Mad Lions are going to turn to AZIR for Humanoid. First time he's played this split. One of 6 unique champions that have been brought out in the mid lane by the Mad Lions.
All right, so you're asking the question, do they go in or do they go back? And it seems like they're going to be going back here with the TARIC AZIR. Strong scaling pair right there. And now Vitality probably want to find some long-range answer into that. It's going to be the ZIGGS. Oh, I really like this. So ZIGGS mid, APHELIOS down in the bottom lane. Now, ZIGGS, for a lot of different reasons, I'm a big fan. One of which, and the biggest thing, specifically as a counter here into the AZIR, is that AZIR doesn't really lose many fights when you're both smacking each other in the face. But when you're able to outrange AZIR, stay outside the range of those sand soldiers, you can get a lot of work done. And that's where the ZIGGS is going to be big value for Vitality.
And there's the Gangplank final pick for Vitality. Cabochard will take that up towards the top lane. So we have 2 melees to help out SEJUANI from the jungle. We'll see exactly what the answer to the Gangplank is gonna be. Orome has played Cho'Gath once before, but it's gonna be ZAC in the top lane. Everyone's just looking at Bwipo being like, hey mate, what are you playing this week? What are you playing this week? Next week they bring it out. And ZAC locked in for Orome up towards that top side.
Yeah, I'll give you that one once we see another top laner play the Rengar in the top lane. But until then, I'll say that this is a trend that's starting to catch on. Of course, Bwipo starting that one off here in Europe with a fun performance on that champion. Now, right now, Mad Lions are kind of all over the place, right? You've got the dive, you've got the kiteback, you've got a whole lot of different things. Vitality, on the other hand, are saying, we are going to try and beat you with range. The Gangplank ultimate, the ZIGGS ult, a couple of globals or semi-globals right there, but also the initiation tools of APHELIOS with that, CC gun, the SEJUANI from long range too. You have a lot of really good options to take into the later fights.
We'll see whether range wins or whether the dive plus kiting back composition wins. Mad Lions, of course, clear favorites. You can see Duke and Mac giving each other a hug on the stage. Worked so well together for Splyce last year. Took Splyce to the world stage and into the knockouts, where they did falter. But two sides of that previous duo facing up against each other this game. With Mad Lions currently sitting at 6-4, with Vitality currently sitting at 1-9. I think a lot of people believe that Vitality's playoff hopes are over, but they could change things around. We'll hear from Mac backstage right now.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now, I'm curious, this composition that you put together, we're seeing the ZAC back in the top lane, TARIC's back in the bot lane. Talk to me a little bit about what you're trying to do with this draft.
Basically, their comp is kind of short range because they have APHELIOS as an ADC who tends to want to fight quite close up and like shred people. And they also have SEJUANI who wants to come into us. So we feel like if we just, and BRAUM as well. So if you pick TARIC and AZIR and Kiteback, then they can't really do that much. And also you have ZAC who's really strong with TARIC. Like you can like jump in with ZAC
the
and stuff.
mile-long engage.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like a sound plan. We'll see how it works out on stage. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, Vitality setting up towards the top lane here. Orome, I think, spotted out Cabochard. Yeah, he's going to step forward. Orome should be able to just walk his way out of this one. Cabo will be looking for a parlay. But before we really get on into the action, there is something we have to do. And congratulations, Vitality. You won a game. Congratulations, guys. Took you 5 weeks to do it, but in the end, you got one.
Can they make it two?
We'll see if he can make it two.
That's the question.
And one of the big things for them last week was they didn't always play around top lane, which is something they had done in previous weeks. Cabochard wasn't the key focus of the composition. It was more about playing down towards the bottom lane for comp.
And honestly, it seems like they're going to continue sort of putting Cabochard more on an island here, right? On the GP pick, not necessarily the champion you look to play through in the early games. So Vitality definitely realizing that if more resources go into players like comp, it could be a very good thing for the squad. Now, we heard Mac talking about, in draft, you're focused a lot on the range of these two compositions, and we said Vitality, they have a whole lot of range, and that's range to initiate fights primarily. That's a very important clarifier, as well as poke with this ZIGGS. But as he was sort of saying, I think it is fair to address that within a fight, if you're, within the range of those AZIR Sand Soldiers, Carzzy's ultimate too, able to cover a lot of distance. There's so much zone control on this Mad Lions team, as well as that ZAC jumping in as a huge disruptor into the backline, that the fights could be rather difficult for Vitality to navigate.
And those big team fights are probably a little while away. Both junglers starting down towards the bottom side of the map on red and blue respectively, and Skeanz will go Crux, clear that out, and then go up towards top. SEJUANI is okay at ganking pre-6, but of course having that Glacial Prism, having that ultimate really does give you a lot more gank potential. You can layer the CC pretty effectively.
Yep, and usually you don't want to match up in those 2v2s. That's where SEJUANI can have a little bit of trouble, especially now that her passive can, break whenever she's doing these jungle camps too, so won't have that immediate resistances that she would have on previous patches. So we'll have to be mindful of this Lee Sin. Now, because both junglers are ending up towards the top side of the map, like, we almost expect to see a little bit of action up here, especially with Cabochard trading very aggressively right here, using Qs on towards Orome to try and chunk him out early in this lane. So Skeanz is probably going to want to be around this lane in case Shadow looks for a gank once he finishes this full clear.
You can see Orome is actually going the Doran shield in the lane, knowing that he's going to be harassed down, knowing that the passive from GANGPLANK and the parlays from GANGPLANK are just going to keep chunking him out. Running the Conqueror on the ZAC top, which is what we've tended to see across the last few weeks as well. Doesn't give you too much sustain in the sort of the general laning phase, but when you can get into fights, get the Conqueror proccing, of course you get all of that healing back.
Yeah, it does also mean because you're in the precision tree, you get Triumph, which is big value, as well as Legend Tenacity from that second row. So definitely good value for him to be in that tree in general. And actually, Precision is a surprisingly good tree for tanks because of the CC reduction, as well as Triumph scaling off your max HP, which, let's be real here, Zac's going to build a whole lot of.
Expect to see him going up towards that Sunfire Cape, getting the improved Immolate passive down as much as he can. We did see the Scuttle Crab going across towards Shadow on the top side river. Saken doesn't really have the pushing potential that you'd want early on because you run out of mana pretty quickly on the Ziggs if you're using all of your skills to push in the wave, as Humanoid was able to gain control of the lane position. Shadow is up towards the top side. There's a ward down here for Cabochard. He'll spot out that the enemy jungler's on his way. Trying to trade here with Orome. Orome flashes in. The stretching strike comes down, but Orome's still alive. Cabochard trying to get out. Shadow's on the chase. Skeanz on his way up as well. Shadow jumps. It misses the Sonic Wave. Cabo with the fancy feet just sidesteps out of it, and Skeanz, well, you're a little bit late to the party, but Cabochard is already dancing.
Yeah, Cabochard just absolutely schooled these two kids as they ran up into the top lane. It wasn't necessarily a 1v2, it was a 1v1 against Orome, followed up by another 1v1. Check this out. Skeanz recalled. Shadow did not, so they're going to try and run into lane against the 0-mana Cabo, which won't work because he backs away, but they will be able to push in this wave and get Orome a nice reset.
You can see Cabo as well. Watch for how often he tries to step on the blobs from the passive of ZAC, because if you can mitigate some of that extra healing that ZAC gets in lane, you can really keep him low and make it very difficult for him to go for the engages. So.
Yeah, and even if you don't actually, splat those, even if like both top laners are running towards them, right, you're going to be able to auto-attack and proc those passives and get the damage down in turn.
Never heard someone call it splatting before.
Yeah, you splat the
really
blobs.
like it, yeah.
That's like the most accurate you can get.
You splat the flubber if you can. But Cabochard forced underneath the tower by Orome and Shadow. He's still ahead in CS, about 15 up. Bot lane is pretty even, but Skeanz is on his way down here. Carzzy and Kaiser have just reset, so they'll be back down. Of course, with MF, you get back down into the lane just that little bit quicker because of the strut passive. It means that some of these recalls, you don't actually lose too much of the CS in the lane.
Yeah, Comp did go for those tier 2 boots, so this time, for now, until Carzzy's able to respond against him, we'll be able to get back into lane pretty quickly. Looks like the wave should push in towards the side of Vitality, and this is the positioning you want for the 2 versus 2, knowing that right now SEJUANI is on the bot side of the map, but she is going to be exiting very soon. So they don't want to be overextended, they don't want to be vulnerable in any way. They want to keep the wave back here nicely, and then the next time Skeanz returns towards this bottom lane, that's where Vitality can look for a play, because you notice Cabochard, while he just teleported into the top lane, he has the ultimate ready. Ziggs level 6-2 has the ultimate ready, so there's a whole lot of just sort of like artillery damage that can come in from afar once Skeanz is also level 6 with the initiation tools to find a fight.
Shadow's going to start up the Infernal. Humanoid has pushed in the mid lane. This should be a pretty easy take for Mad Lions. Skeanz, as you said, already passed up to a path up towards the top side of the map. No jungler here to threaten. No Rift Herald on the map either for Vitality to answer with. But Mad Lions strike first and get themselves the Infernal Dragon.
Good play out of them, playing around the side of the map that has a much better shot, has that push, as opposed to putting more resources and sinking that into Orome in the top lane. This is the same story we saw from that Buppo game of ZAC top. He is getting beaten early on inside the laning phase, falling down quite a lot in terms of CS, but the build more than likely is going to be Sunfire Cape into a Thornmail, so eventually he should be a pretty immovable object in a side lane, but definitely going to be outpaced in terms of the scaling in damage and itemization against this.
Gangplank? Yeah.
Wow.
The champion. Sometimes.
I want to say against this Cabochard, I'm like, that's not right.
Oh, but you were close enough. You were close enough. I do want to talk a little bit about Mad falling behind, Orome falling behind in the early game, because it is something they've consistently done. They're actually 10th in our league for gold difference at 15. They fall behind in kills, and they fall behind in deaths. They tend to die a lot before the 15-minute mark. Of course, yet to die here, but you can see Skeanz already looking up towards the top lane to see if they can catch out Orome.
Yeah, one of the culprits of those weak stats early on is Orome in the top lane gets bullied a ton, and you can see Shadow is nowhere to be found. So now that Saken is walking on up here, he's going to have to sacrifice this entire wave.
No, he's
if
not.
He sticks around, he might just die.
He's still there. He's still there. Skeanz now catching the wave, keeping Orome in place. Orome jumps forward, only lands the elastic fling shot on one, but no one's tanking the tower yet. Cabo gets it in the end. Here comes Saken. They're looking for the damage. Mega Inferno Bomb connects, and now the blobs come out. Cabochard and Saken should be able to clean this up pretty easily. Of course, you put the barrel in the middle, you shoot it with the gun, and you take the kill. Shadow, though, kicks him in, kicks him back, and gets one in return.
Shadow started recalling immediately when they saw the rotation coming up towards the top side, and Orome stalled out long enough that Shadow could come around and respond with a kill in that lane too. So this is actually a positive play for Mad Lions, I feel, right? You're able to get into the top lane with Shadow, pick up the kill. And no, it wasn't first blood, so you lose gold there, but he finds the whole top wave. Humanoid full pushes in mid, gets a tower plate, pulls the TP out of Saken. A lot of good things happened for Mad because Shadow was able to react.
I'll have another look at this dive. As you said, Orome just should have left earlier on.
Yeah, I was surprised to see at the start here Saken not try to interrupt Orome's E with his own Q, because SEJUANI will take priority and knock him out of that jump forward. You also have the missed Q from Saken against the stunned target. It's not the cleanest dive overall, but once the blobs go down, as you said, sets it up for the beautiful 3-hit. And then Shadow, boop-de-boop, finds the kill.
Well played by Shadow. He said his Lee Sin is something to be feared, and he's showing that he can catch you out if you're mispositioned. Comp and Steeelback rotated up towards this top lane as expected at the 8-minute mark. And now Mad Lions are starting up the Rift Herald.
Yeah, Shadow never reset though, so he doesn't have a flash, doesn't have an ultimate, doesn't have a warrior enchant either. Right now, Skeanz, who has the Cinderhulk, is trying to run up here as fast as he possibly can. Because with that threat of the Cannon Barrage too, I think Vitality would be good to look for a fight here.
I agree with you there. Glacial Prison on its way back up. Shadow, though, is going to start it up. Humanoid once again gets Prio and then helps out his jungler. He's done this a few times already this game. Saken still only sitting on the Lost Chapter. Doesn't really have the wave play that he'd like. Skeanz on the blue buff will give Saken this one, but maybe they're going to slow it down and look to see if this Rift Herald can be contested. 2,000 HP on it. The Eye opens. Shadow going to keep that alive for as long as possible. Looking for the final auto on the Eye. Lands the smite. Humanoid goes in, but Saken flashes away. Skeanz in with the Glacial Prison. Humanoid immediate cleanse. Flashes over the wall and gets away. Comp stepping forward. Kaiser does have.
Here we go. There's the Cannon Barrage.
Cannon Barrage comes out. Kaiser's going to be in that ult for just a second, but you have to feel he's going to go down. The Dazzle comes out, Comp sidesteps it, and Vitality get their second kill of the game. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Robe is trading on Cabo, but Cabo can just walk away.
Yeah, big trade down bot side. It will be Vitality finding the fight they were looking for. Off better resets, especially between their junglers with the global as well. That was a smart fight for them to try and find. Of course, Shadow did end up securing the Rift Herald in the process, so there still is an opportunity for Mad Lions to fire on back here and neutralize some of the gold lead that Vitality have been able to accrue already.
But you can see it's 1,000 gold lead for Cabochard on that Gangplank. He's already on his way towards the Trinity Force. We'll have another look at this fight. It's well played by Humanoid to get out, but in the end, it's Kaiser that kind of just oversteps.
Yeah, Humanoid goes really, really hyphy right here. Has to use the flash and the cleanse to get away. Of course, if he was able to pick off Saken, fight would look very, very different, but by jumping super far forward and then piecing out, the rest of his team was trying to come around and help him out, and that's going to mean that Kaiser has nowhere really to go and will get slain.
Do want to give him credit. He got Comp's flash out at the start of the fight, maybe overstepped, but getting those summoners out of an APHELIOS, who is very low mobility generally, is good. Mad Lions a little bit quick on this Rift Herald, in my opinion. You want to get it down after you've already taken a couple of plates, because it does true damage. It ignores all of the extra resistances that towers get when you take a plate. They do still get it, and it means that Vitality weren't there in time to react.
Yeah, and I think in their defense, Vitality were all rotating up, so if they had waited longer, they probably couldn't have even placed it themselves. They went for the early attempt to try and get that free money, but I agree, in an isolated situation when you can wait the longer time, that is going to be the biggest bang for your buck.
It's like, actual gold is better than hypothetical gold.
That's true, because you could wait 2 minutes and then tower plates fall, and then you're really set.
That is true, but you couldn't because Rift Herald expires.
Well, then you'd be really sad.
Yeah, you'd be very sad in that situation. We have got down to the crux of the conflict. It's the big sad that Mad Lions would have had if that had happened. Vitality now, 3-man stack up towards the top line. Humanoid and Shadow playing down towards bot.
Yeah, they're trying to run down here. Carzzy has no mana, so the fight must be bot side for them. Cabochard has the flash, but no ultimate to kite away, and Humanoid has an R of his own.
Cabo flashes it,
he
but
got
still
him!
gets pulled back. Cabo right on the tip of it, you have to feel. Shadow gets the kill, and Vitality will just take plates in the top lane to try and answer.
And Humanoid makes Cabochard so sad right there.
Yep.
Used the flash and still could not escape. So absolutely punished on the champion who has been dominating in that 1v1 so far. That's the gold that Orome is going to like to try and make up some of that disadvantage, but also Mad Lions, they want to put as much as they possibly can onto Humanoid in this game. They went for that early Azir pick, or that 4th pick Azir, you know, didn't necessarily save the blind for him in this matchup, but said, we want consistency out of you, and so far it's been a solid performance from him.
Yep, yet to die this game. Has that assist, of course, from the last fight and has been scaling up relatively well. There's still a 2,000 gold lead for Vitality, but you can see Cabo knows he can take a pure 1v1, but the rest of Mad are on their way.
Yeah, Mad Lions sprinting on down here towards the bottom lane. We'll see the flash one more time, because I believe Cabochard, does he stall out? Oh, so he stalls out to hit the barrel. Maybe didn't need to do that. Wasn't able to get that extra distance that would have cleared him, because that was a very close call right there.
I think he was just on the
Sand
edge
Soldiers.
of it. Of course, they spawned behind where Azir is and then pushed through him, which is why he did get caught there. But it was definitely very, very close. Trinity Force now finished on Cabochard. That means he's going to continue to harass Orome down in the lane. Makes it even stronger with those extra procs from the Sheen. And you can see Orome just running away. He realizes he can't have any of this action.
Yeah, this is a good move from Vitality. Even though they were unsuccessful in the last play, right, Cabochard did die in the side lane, they were able to pick up that top lane tower. So they were doing a good job of trying to remove towers, while Mad Lions are just going around and picking up CS in side lanes at the moment. Okay, you know, a warning shot there in the mid lane. We're just going to go ahead and reset off that, you know, wash our eyes out, pretend we didn't see that one, but should be able to get full control of that river and knock down that bot lane tower anyways.
That's where the question mark pings would come out in an all game. It's like, okay, that's fine.
Just move us right along,
yeah.
you know? Don't have to sit on that one. He's trying his best.
Something we haven't talked about, of course, is the turret-taking power of ZIGGS. Satchel Charge can chunk him out from about half HP. You can see Humanoid trying to answer with one of his own in the top lane, but Mad will be a turret down and about 2,000 gold behind at the 50 or 14.5 minute mark. And Saken with that short fuse passive as well will shred through these turrets pretty quickly. You can see Cabochard's actually gone Demolish. He's going to chunk it out. Orome trying to jump forward, but yeah, I'm not sure you want to be part of this action. Carzzy and Kaiser are on their way, though, and the Cosmic Radiance is available. Shadow jumping in, flashes forward, but he loses vision. He lost vision on Saken, and because of it, he pays for with his life. Cosmic Radiance comes down, and Kaiser trying to get away. The Glacial Fissure will lock him up. There's the concussive blows as well. Great stuff from Vitality. Shadow outplayed himself. He was boxing with shadows as the fog of war came to Saken's aid.
Yeah, Shadow had to stick around for a little bit too long there and got splatted. We're going to use that one more time. Kaiser, too, overextending, trying to save his jungler, but not able to survive in the end. Now, all the while, Humanoid was pushing in this top lane and neutralized that turret advantage that Vitality had that we were talking about a little while ago. So he's still continuing to pile up on that gold. But looking at this fight one more time, it is sort of a disjointed effort from Mad Lions. Orome goes in, of course, before his jungler can get there, just trying to buy time. But now that he's chunked, he wants to leave the fight. You see this play from Shadow one more time. Flashes out of the bush, loses vision. I bet he didn't know that worked like that, and that's going to end up costing him his life there as Saken gets a little bit extra damage out. And Kaiser with this ultimate too is a bit unfortunate. He couldn't have really timed it better, but he ulted before comp was even there. So he wasn't really blocking any damage, just got CC'd until the APHELIOS could roll on up and find the kill.
And the thing about that is, as well, is even with the Cosmic Radiance, you don't block CC, you just block damage, right? So Carzzy can't just stand there and wrestle off a bullet time, because immediately he just gets stunned. He has to try and retreat, get back behind the tower, and then try and get that ultimate off. Now, 16 minutes into the game, it's about 1,700 gold difference between the two teams. Mad have been able to claw a little bit of that back, but Cabochard is on his way down towards this middle lane as Skeanz steps forward, dodges out from the dazzle, but Shadow is on the chase. We'll see now. Vitality with a lot of wave clear. It's going to be hard for Mad to push too far as the Rift Herald has spawned. Mad are on their way up towards it. Kaiser doesn't have the ult, nor does Carzzy. What flashes have we got up? Carzzy lacking his, Shadow lacking his. Only Steeelback and Cabo without theirs on the side of Vitality.
It was game of chicken right there. You saw Mad Lions were trying to run into the river really quickly, but Vitality just stayed as 5 members in mid lane. And Mad Lions didn't feel like they could start up the Herald, so now they had to walk all the way around through their own jungle to catch that wave. Orome had to run topside too. So it is Vitality into the pit first. Cabochard's ultimate going to be coming up very, very soon. And honestly, with these big ultis from Vitality, it's so hard for the Mad Lions backline, especially Carzzy without a flash, to play these fights, because you consider the AoE slow falling down from Cabochard, setting up for the initiation of Skeanz, the damage from Saken. There's all these tools that Vitality can use, just make his life a living nightmare.
But you can see with the Cloud Drake coming up soon, Vitality were a bit tentative of taking that fight. Of course, if Mad get this Cloud Drake, they're on Soul Point. Extra cooldown reduction on those ultimates will be very helpful for them, especially the Cosmic Radiance. So powerful when you can get it up. Well, more often, as most ultimates are, I find.
That's always a good thing, you know, to have in your playbook. Now, it seems like Vitality just want to give this one up to go for the Herald themselves. And what this trade effectively will mean is Vitality take the mid lane tower for the Cloud Drake on the other side. And I think that's a fair trade to make. Of course, Humanoid will get the tower bot side too, so gold-wise, it will be neutral. But that mid lane tower is so important, especially for extending your vision line into the enemy territory and getting priority over the entire map.
Humanoid has been just continually pushing in a side lane. Shadow will secure the dragon by himself. Mad were able to send 2 players mid to defend the turret, so it hasn't fallen as of yet. But as you say, with the Rift Turret, it should be a lot easier for Vitality to get it. Mad Lions coming back into this game. We said that early games tend to be a little bit, well, bad. They tend to fall behind. Now we've got past that 15-minute mark. We're definitely getting towards the mid-game. They are starting to claw back some of that gold disadvantage and starting to play more like the playoff contenders that they are.
Certainly are, you know, at that soul point now, and Humanoid just finishing off the Banshee's Veil. So, like, itemization-wise, things are going well for this team. We've sort of talked about scaling a lot in this match, and while Vitality have a lot of these great tools to start off a team fight, you can never really count out an AZIR. Humanoid, definitely the player we're looking at in a match like this to step up and absolutely carry for the Mad Lions. When you have a TARIC next to it too, like, this backline is absolutely going to hurt. I think that Mad Lions' best bet is to try and take a fight at an approaching, you know, dragon. In 4 minutes, right, you can look for that soul yourselves, take a big fight there. Of course, having the movement speed on a ZAC is probably going to be pretty valuable on a TARIC too. Like, there's a lot of factors that can play into it, but also that flat movement speed increase. Like, a lot of people like to mean it, but I think it's really strong.
I totally agree with you. Playing a support, trying to roam around through the jungle definitely helps you out. Rift Tower was used. The tower doesn't fall here. Vitality unable to get close enough. The Satchel Charge, if it was used, you can see just above the turret's health bar, there's that little red marker. Could have get taken down, and in the end, it falls. Vitality get mid lane tower, and with it, they maintain about 1,500 gold lead. Now, Ender, you have a little bit of a reset period here, it looks like. Let's do some more quick stats, okay?
Why are you trying to do his thing?
What do you think Mad
That's
Lions...
not your thing.
Okay, let's do a fun game of Medics Minutia.
Okay.
Okay?
I'll play.
What do you think Mad Lions' win rate is on a Friday?
It's 80%.
No, it's lower than 80%.
40%.
Lower than 40%.
0%.
20%. They have won 1 game on a Friday so far this split, and they have won all of their games on Saturdays.
Dude, your stats are lame. Your stats are lame.
Look, that was a great stat, right? One person's applauding me in the crowd.
Oh.
One person. A few more. It's good. That's a great stat.
No one has ever been like, wow, numbers, that's exciting.
Yeah, but maybe they need the Friday to improve for the Saturday.
All right, Mad Lions, they're trying to seize mid lane. They're going for the initiation.
Okay, Orome jumps in, thank God. Comp's able to get away with the flash, but
Look at Shadow, look at Shadow.
Shadow has a great position here. Comp's going to try and run away.
He's going so fast. It's the cloud map, baby.
Wave still hits him. He's going so fast.
Just running through the jungle, man. The cloud wins Quicken. And now Mad Lions should be able to knock down this mid lane tower. It's Skeanz and Steeelback here. They surely can't wave clear. And that TP might get canceled.
No, Saken's going to get there just in time.
Just auto it.
Seems like a lot of effort. Seems like a lot of effort, Ender. You have to throw out that you do the auto attack animation. It's just too much. Mad Lions leave the mid lane tower up. Shadow on this Lee Sin, 4 and 1. Not giving any assists across, has 1,000 gold lead over Skeanz. Now finished his Black Cleaver. And that gold lead in the top lane only extending for Cabochard. 2,700 ahead. And at some point, Gangplank can just take over a game.
Yeah, Cabochard has been having a great time in this 1v1 matchup. You know, like, Skeanz went top lane a little bit early to try and help him out 1v2, but like didn't end up doing anything. Cabochard has truly been on his own this game and still been dominating. And I think for Vitality, that's pretty much the best case scenario, right? We saw them early in the split try to put everything into Cabochard. It wouldn't turn into a win a lot for this team. I think invest time in Comp, in Saken, allow them to really thrive, and then of course, Cabo gonna do very well on his own. Of course, there was that tower dive in the top lane as well, but it ended up being a 1-for-1, so I write that one off.
See, Steeelback going for the redemption first here on the BRAUM. Not the most classical itemization, but does mean that can heal his team up if they get, you know, chunked out by something like an MF ult or by something like the AZIR soldiers. And now we've kind of got to the point in the game where each team are like, okay, we're going to send our strong player into a side lane, and then we're just going to slam our heads against each other in the mid lane. Oh,
probably sound like that.
We're going for it in mid lane. Oh, you know what Humanoid's doing? This is going to be his 4th tower of the game if he takes this. He took both in the top lane. He's going to take both in the bottom lane. Humanoid, gold is just funneled into him.
Let's go.
I like the way he did it when there were no minions there. It's just like, don't need them for help.
Dude, the best part about Humanoid taking all these towers and side lanes is that he still hasn't died while doing it.
He hasn't done a single roll this game. Hasn't got a crit fail. Moonlight Vigil coming out. Comp gets the root, but only lands onto a Orome after he falls down with the elastic slingshot. But Vitality do have the prio here. They're going to be able to push in. Carzzy's backing away. Vitality say, well, we need to set up vision because there's a Cloud Drake in 18 seconds, and we can't give this one up.
But now they don't have ultimate on Comp. Comp has no flash either, so look at Shadow in this bot side of the jungle, right? Like, with no flash on Comp, and Shadow knowing that there's no flash either, it is time for Shadow to try and jump into the backline and pick that guy off.
He's got a few different paths he can go. He's actually going to get spotted by a wall. Oh, no, he's not. Yes, he is now. Okay, they know he's there. Shadow jumps in straight onto Comp. Comp, no flash. And there he goes. Shadow with the fancy feet once again finds his kill. 5 kills on the Lee Sin, stepping up rookie of the split material.
It's just a beautiful performance by Shadow every single time he gets this Lee Sin. The way he approaches fights, so flawless here. Absolutely painting a target on Comp's back and making him punish, and then allowing Mad Lions to pick up the Cloud Soul while they're still down in gold.
Still behind in gold, but now they have the soul. As you say, the Cloud wings quicken, and that soul will be incredibly powerful for Mad Lions.
Dude, Shadow has all 5 of his team's kills. No one on his team has more than 2 assists.
I've experienced this when you've jungled for me.
Dude, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was like, wait, is that an insult? Is that an insult? No, it's not. Okay, good.
It might be a little bit.
I'm just going to say, like, we know jungle is ruined if Vitality win this game. We know it. We know that it is ruined.
Nothing about team comps, nothing about scaling. No. Just like, if one jungler gets 5 kills, jungle's done.
This guy's just trying to play the game by himself. And so far, it's working.
That's a big
He got every dragon. He got every dragon. He got the first herald. Great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yes, all credit to Shadow. He has played incredibly well. I do want to say Vitality's team comp can still do stuff against Shadow, right? Maybe he gets caught out. You know, Humanoid can still be taken down, although he's almost on his way towards a Rabadon's. We'll see exactly how. I've accidentally drawn on the screen.
Oh, you did it again.
Okay, there we are. Fixed it.
The mystery of the appearing circles.
Yes, because I leaned forward and accidentally press it. Okay, so now Vitality have some vision control around the Baron. You can see Mad Lion's going to try and clear it out. Shadow with the control ward will just clear out 1, but the poke will be real from Saken. Chucking out those bouncing bombs. Here we go. Vitality stepping forward into darkness. It's Shadow once again. Has the flash, has the flank. Is he going to go for it? Who's he looking for this time? Steeelback's on the front line. Very squishy. Only got that redemption. Shadow misses the Sonic Wave. But now you can put Orome down towards the bottom side, Shadow up towards the top, hits the Sonic Wave on Cabochard, not going to jump in, it's the Gangplank, not the target you wanted. Looking for Comp, who has his flash back up. It's actually a bit more difficult for Shadow now because there's flashes on all of Vitality.
It's a really important difference, right? Having the backline be able to go back. Good cleanse out of Humanoid to go on away. That's 2 major ultimates blown by Vitality. Madline should be looking for a fight right now. Fight them before it goes back.
Oh, Kaiser flashes forward but doesn't quite connect with the dazzle. Vitality have control over the river, but there's 1 minion. The solitary bastion of pushing for Mad Lions. Steeelback with the flank. Cabo there as well. Saken trying to get the damage in from the side. Shadow jumps forward onto Cabo. They're trying to kill him before he can do too much, but now he puts the bowers down and Orome is out of place. Humanoid getting the soldiers in from the side.
But now Mad Lions, they have a wave in mid lane, so they're going to be able to run it straight on through. They have an Azir tower as well. They're not going for the minion wave just yet. Instead, looking for Saken in the jungle. Now they have the ability to siege.
Cabochard's backing away. He's actually going back to base. Back to the fountain. The tower falls. Mad Lions, 6th of the game for them. They get the final also in. Double the towers of Vitality. Gold, dead on even. They have a Cloud Drake Soul. And now Mad turn towards the Baron. Cabo has TP. Cannon Barrage, still a quarter of its cooldown left. Skeanz doesn't have the Glacial Prison. Vitality gonna have to step into darkness to go for this.
Yeah, Mad Lions just starting this one up. Still no ultimate on Cabo or Skeanz. They're gonna look to turn.
Humanoid goes in straight onto Steeelback. He pops the stopwatch, but is that too little too late? Steeelback flashes away. Sonic Wave doesn't connect. There's the bullet time. Saken chunked out as well, down to half HP, but the Baron's now resetting and Cabochard is on the chase. Comp with the Moonlight Vigil only hits it on 1. The Infernum really doesn't do too much as Comp is underleveled and underfed right now.
And now Mad Lions, they're just going straight back onto the Baron. The ultimates are coming back though for Skeanz and Cabo. This is their time to fight, but they have to look out for Orome.
Orome jumps forward, but Comp flashes away. Infernum gun gonna open up as Carzzy takes a chunk from the barrels. Orome's down. Shadow looking for the flank once again. Has the kick if he can get in there, but look at the damage coming out from Comp. That's 1. The Cosmic Radiance comes down, keeps Carzzy alive. Humanoid's gonna shuffle away. Comp still has the flank, but Saken's found him. Saken knows where Comp is. Where Shadow is, sorry.
And they actually get this guy.
I'm pretty sure they can.
I mean, he's going to be able to hop over to the ward right here.
Cabochard is a great play. There's no way you get out of this one. Even with the flash, Cabochard just needs the parlay, puts the barrel down. Shadow, you've done so much this game. You played so well, but even you can't survive versus 3 members of VIT. Oh, no, it doesn't. No, we were too hyped. We were too excited.
Jungle is ruined, Medic. It's ruined.
The game is over. Jungle's ruined. Vitality are going to start up the Baron.
Oh, Vitality going to find this one. They chase Shadow for so long right there. Now, Orome, his teleport comes up in 5 seconds. And Carzzy's ult did just return. It might be the chance to try and go for the 4v5 in the Baron pit.
Steeelback needs to be in position to put up the Unbreakable. The Baron going
that
lower,
does nothing.
Kaiser stunned up. Humanoid's going to take the kill, and Carzzy jumps in. Orome jumping forward as well. They got Cabo. That's the kill they wanted. Vitality scattered, shredded. Comp can't survive. Shut down to Mad. And it looked like for a moment Vitality had a ray of hope. It looked like for a moment they had a lifeline in the game, but Mad Lions slammed the door right in their face.
And it's Humanoid once again in these fights, stepping up to find those kills. Carzzy's going to chase down Skeanz for the cherry on top for the ace as well. And the rest of Mad Lions are going to be able to push for the base.
They didn't even need the jungler to do it, and Mad Lions turn it around. This is the first fight you can see. Watch Comp as he comes into the fight, because he is he's shredding them, as is Cabochard.
Yeah, well, the initial ultimate from Comp here does the most pitiful damage I've ever seen, but it is that turnaround, flashing away from Orome in particular, because if he gets caught out here, the fight instantly going to be over for Vitality. Instead, he kites back. I think he could have switched over sooner to that white gun for the faster DPS against a single target. And then as they kill that ZAC blob, they time out the rest of the TARIC ult and then can chase down for cleanup. It is, Skeanz, or rather Shadow on the other side that does get caught out. And here, once again, watch Humanoid on this bottom side of the map. The zoning ultimate from Carzzy right there, but it is Humanoid able to snipe off the first one and then trap them in the pit. The good ulti onto Saken too.
Cabo gets locked in the pit by himself as Vitality retreat. The chase is on. There's an Elder Dragon on the cards. Only 30 minutes in the game, and Humanoid's pushing down bot lane by himself. He's had a stellar performance so far this game.
Well, look at this. They are literally on that bot lane inhibitor tower. Vitality got caught with 5 members in mid lane. Now the Ziggs ult goes through. For no reason, that tower was going down regardless. And with the exposed inhibitor, he's going to get caught.
Oh, Steeelback gets caught. Half HP, and now the Elder Dragon too easy for Mad to take. Shadow down to half HP, but it's just Carzzy doing it by himself right now. Skeanz stepping forward, puts the ward in the pit. 5,000 on the Elder. Orome jumping in straight onto Saken. Cabochard trying to do what he can, but Humanoid's on a killing spree. Carzzy still on the Elder. Skeanz, you got to get in there. You got to step forward. Redemption comes out. There's the bullet time, but already the Elder's almost gone. The Glacial Prison coming out. Shadow's low, but look at the jump in from Skeanz. It's way too
look
early.
At Humanoid. He's 1v3.
He's 1v3. Steeelback's going to fall as well. The Elder Dragon goes over to Mad Lions, and they roar their way through Vitality.
Mad Lions going to be able to charge it straight down this middle lane. There's no way the Vitality can stop them. Cabochard on his own in the fight. It's Humanoid coming up huge, diving into the back line. Shadow waiting before knocking down that dragon as well. Just good stuff from Mad Lions all around, turning around right in the second when they got that Baron.
You can see Vitality held on to their lead for a long time, but Mad Lions show they are just the superior team today. Higher caliber, higher kills. higher damage across the board.
And the better jungler wins, baby.
The better jungler wins on the back of Shadow, who's going to get his third death of the game as he dives underneath the fountain. Mad Lions will take down Vitality. That's a big backpack.
That's a big backpack right there. Shadow all over the map, finding those kills. But as I said time and time again, we were looking at Humanoid as potential weakness on this team. 0 deaths in this game. It's not the DND story. He started his own campaign here today because he absolutely popped off in those pivotal fights.
Yeah, really good stuff by him, just farming in a side lane for the majority of the game, but that was applying pressure, pushing forward, making sure that Vitality always had 2 or 3 pressure points on the map that they had to answer. And unsurprisingly, he is one of the players you can vote for in the Kia Player of the Game. Vote at LEC on Twitter, alongside Shadow and Carzzy. I think I know who I'm giving it to. I think you know who you're giving it to. And
we don't have to spoil any of that.
Don't have to spoil it. And
that's the great thing.
Spoil it, guys. Make your own decision. But if you don't pick Shadow, you are trolling.
He certainly carried a lot of work in this game. Fun to see the Bows on stage here in Berlin. Mad Lions continue to lock themselves further and further in that playoffs race. This one was an important one. Don't lose to teams underneath you in the standings. Now they will still be tied for that 6th spot with Rogue.
But it's also that 2-win separation from 7th. That's the important thing, because XL now are 2 wins behind Mad. The teams play each other in just a couple of weeks' time, I believe, as well. So being able to develop that gap, keep that gap going, is so important for teams like Mad Lions and for teams like Rogue. It's almost time for our highlight game of the day, though, as first place Fnatic and Misfits Gaming face off in just a few minutes. More on that in an interview with Kaiser right after this.
I'm here at the Misfits 2020 Spring Fashion Show, where they're serving up the freshest new looks before their matchup versus Fnatic. Here they come now. Oh, wow. You don't want to miss this one. Come back after the break.
This is my creed. The boots that make me faster. The items that make me stronger. The potions that I drink. I get the best to be more powerful, so my champion rises to the top. But all this leveling up means nothing if I don't level up myself. It's the healthy potions I drink in real life that make me stronger. Because you can only rule the game when you realize you are your most important champion. To play like a pro, eat like a pro.
To pull us from the vicious cycles, feeding back again. Conserve and feed to generate. We damn, it's just